are they just tired of not having their own dreams and doing business their way. And a lot of it has been work-life family balance and working from home. So anyway, there's a lot of changes, and are you going to be ready? So think about who you aspire to become. Okay, what type of business you are driven to start or grow. And when I'm talking about starting or growing, if you're not sure about starting or growing, just in your mind, substitute what kind of work you want to do. I was working with somebody the other day, and her homework, her action list was to think of all the things she was really good at, all the things that she loved doing, that she was passionate about, and the resources that she had, and then to marry those 3 different columns into the area that she wanted to concentrate in. She's an entrepreneur. She's very good in column A. She hates it, absolutely hates it. And so she has really awesome skill sets that she can begin to pivot into another type of business. And that's what she's going to decide. And you're in the same spot. So think about who you aspire to be. Your dream will inspire you. It will provide you the direction for years to come. When you get really clear with what you want, your purpose in life, it's a guiding beacon for you, and it's value driven. I do a lot of work with entrepreneurs on their strategy. So whenever we have a value, let's say family values are really important to me, and I'm doing something that's hurting my family and my work continuously, I know it's going to go on for years, I'm conflicted. That is not good. And you need to make sure that you know what your values are, and then you're going to create your workforce, your job, your company to support those values. And if you have a company, if you have a company you want to grow, your values go out into your entire company. So we'll look at some vision statements for some corporations in a second. So for the solopreneur, it's why you get up in the morning, what you're going to do. You want this to be just so exciting that you love getting out of bed and going to work, even if it's hopping down the hall and down to the kitchen table, wherever it's going to be, your home office. Once you create and own your dream, then you begin to support you support it by mid and long-term goals and action. So we're going to talk about that after we've done the mindset portion of today. Okay. So I want to take you through. So when I do strategic planning with companies do vision statements. I mean, there are entire books written about this. One of the best ones, by the way, if you want to look at this, is Built to Last by Jim Collins and Jerry Porras. Great book. He's the one who coined the term BHAG. So back in the 50s, Sony wanted to become the company most known for changing the worldwide poor quality image of Japanese products. At that time, they were paper umbrellas. Anything coming out of Japan was of very poor quality. And they wanted to change the image of Japanese products, which was a big, BHAG's big, hairy, audacious goal. That was the company's goal. It was their mindset, and they achieved it. Okay, it drove their company. You will have a smaller company, but the same thing can happen. This is about you directing yourself, making sure that you're staying on your vision and creating it. So Disney, 4 words: to make people happy. Okay, that's what drives them, and they do it beautifully. And why today Sony's is to be moved, to inspire and move people. And when you go to Sony's website, everything about their website is moving. So they brought it even into their website. But Disney is to make people happy. So and then this is from Heinz. So the world's premier food company, offering nutritious, superior tasting foods to people everywhere. Being a premier food company does not mean being the biggest. And that's really important because we're small businesses. Just because we want to be really, really good doesn't mean we have to be the biggest. It does mean being the best in terms of consumer value, customer service, employee talent, and consistent and predictable. So there are lots of vision statements. I'm going to give you a resource in a second where you can go and look at other companies' vision statements. If you get stuck after we get off the call today, go there and spend some time looking at vision statements of other companies and just use that to begin to augment, to support your dreams. So Oxfam, a just world without poverty. That's awesome. IKEA, to create a better everyday life for the many people. So, and there was another one I didn't put on here. It was pharmaceutical company Merck. and they wanted to have their BHAG, big hair audacious goal, back in the 50s when they were changing from a chemical company, was to have an R&D, a research and development budget rival to a university, and they wanted to change the world through medicine. They wanted to make a better world through medicine. So we have Merck, who wants to improve people's lives through medicine, and we had Sony, who wants to have kick butt fun, right? So it doesn't, your purpose doesn't have to be, open your mind to what your purpose is. Having kick butt fun can have a really great purpose for the world, because we need to have humor, we need to have entertainment, we need to have probably what you guys are thinking about for your businesses. All right, so your vision is going to drive your company and your life. So this is kind of an interactive exercise. I want you to know yourself first. So think about what drove you to start or want to start your company. Any significant events in your life? What are your values? What problems do you hope to solve? What do you want to achieve? And what changes are on the horizon? And I'm looking for something that you've got to, it's either you feel like you have to change this or you're just going to die. It's like so deep within you. So who wants to start that conversation? Why don't I stop sharing for a second so I can see you guys? Well, maybe, do you need to write those? I'll put these in the chat so you can have them. No, I can't do that. Okay, so I'll keep you guys on the screen. Who wants to start with some responses? I used to teach at university. You all have to talk or I call on you. Okay.
Can you repeat what are you asking us again?
So the question's on the screen.
Okay.
If you took a picture, whoa, sorry. I keep flipping back and forth. What drives you to start your company? Okay, why are you doing this? Was it a significant life event? And only share what you want to share. This is a public forum. If you don't want to share it, don't share it. But what are your values? Do your values align with your company? What problem do you hope to solve? There has to be you can push market, meaning, so I used to I taught a seminar, came from Chicago. I'm Irish. I talked about Irish soda bread. It happened to be on St. Patrick's Day. There were people in the crowd, in the audience, who came up to me and said, I have never had Irish soda bread, never thought about Irish soda bread, but I'm going over to Giant and getting Irish soda bread. That was push marketing. They didn't have a need. I created a need for them. On the other hand, you need a doctor, right? So if you're starting a medical practice, that's something that we need. So where are you in that? And what do you hope to achieve with your business? And let me look at the next screen, because you might want to do those questions too. Let's continue to think about it. What would you be known for in the future? Okay, what inspires you? So, Erica, what do you think?
All right, I'll bite, Robin.
Thank you.
So I think the reason I hesitate is because the thing that I'm exploring creating a business around is something that I'm not sure I can create a business around. So that's my hesitation. It started when, so I like to create tech studies, specifically Torah tech studies. And every time I do one, like I've done, I don't know, maybe 15 tech studies, and some of them have been paid gigs and some of them have been like in conferences where like just the attendees, were able to sign up for whatever was there. And I get really great feedback, like there's an art to running a tech study. It's not just collecting, provocative tech studies, but it's like you take people on a journey and you hold space for people to be able to like muse and ask questions. And I've definitely been on the participation side where I've felt like really shut down in sessions. And I think that I really create a space where people feel open to connecting with the text, which is like what a lot of Jews feel like is what we're supposed to be doing with Torah. And I get really incredible feedback. And so like this thing that just basically I was a nerd who liked to do this thing. And then I was like, it seems like people really enjoy this. And so now I'm trying to build models where I can take that to a broader audience. And also I want to do some shifting to encompass creating ritual for people,
Okay.
because I think there's a big need for spirituality for people and building rituals that work for them in their lives. So that's my idea, and I think it's just something that I really need for myself. Like that was one of my impetuses, or impeti. I don't know how you say that plural. And then I feel like I'm discovering that it's a really deep need for a lot of people. So I think that answers both of those slide questions.
I think it does. It's not easy, right? So in your case, I would look at other, and I think we talked last month, there are people that have done something like what you're doing before. Because if you all think you have a unique idea that nobody had ever done or thought of before, I'm sorry to break this to you, but you're probably wrong, okay? There are just very few new ideas out there, but you're tweaking somebody else's idea. You're taking it to a different level in a different direction. Okay, and we talked about Beth Moore, the Beth Moore studies last time. It's spiritual teaching, it's Christian teaching. There are lots of people that radio people, television people, they've got their way of doing it. You're going to find your way of doing it. There's something about you that's different. When I work with individuals and we talk about their key success factors, it's most often the person I'm working with. You are your own key success factors, but you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and your opportunities and threats. And so you do a SWOT analysis. But the needs you want to solve is you want to educate people on spirituality. I can tell you right now, mental health in general in the United States is a huge crisis from child to adult. So in spirituality is part of that, I believe. So the timing is right for what you're doing. But I will never tell anybody it's easy. It's not a slam dunk. Did that help? Anybody else have any other thoughts? I'm going to call on you. Okay, who else would like to weigh in? Sharon, you're looking like you're thinking.
Oh,
What are you thinking?
my thinking. I'm thinking that there were, let's say, a chain of significant events in quick succession. That's a word. That has brought me to this moment, and I guess largely I've only worked for companies. I have never worked for myself before. But the older I get, the having time to do things I choose to do is lovely and important and such. So I guess my thought is there was a way for me to work with possibilities I have to generate some income that I could have both. That would be great. But that is like the end result. I'm just worried that I don't have that burning fire that propels you, I'd have to think about that. It's not to say that I don't have strengths and things like that, but I'm also not 21 anymore. So I know I'd have to think about it, but
you mentioned an important point. The passion, the desire to do it is important because you're going to get up every day, or if you're working part-time, 3 days, 5 days, whatever.
Right.
And you're going to be doing, I was talking to another client today who has to get more into the tech field. And I'm like, okay, what was today's sessions? What are you feeling? She goes, I hate tech stuff, but my reward is getting it done because I know I need to do it right now. It is part of, so we're going to do things in a business as a business owner that you don't actually love doing. I'm sorry, I'm just going to break it to you. And
of course,
you have the money to hire it out, but she can't, she tried to hire out her tech stuff. It didn't work well because she didn't know what she was hiring out. So she's working on getting a basic understanding so that then she can have a competent conversation with a tech person and then hire it out, right?
okay.
Another classic example is somebody who doesn't like to deal with money, so they hired a CPA, and no CPAs on here, and it's not usual, but the person took their money. Okay. I used to be a court reporter. The clerk that sat a wall away from the court with all the deputies and the police officers was in jail 3 years later for stealing money. Okay. You have to keep track of what you're doing. We trust people, absolutely, but you still need to know what's going on and keep track of things.
course.
So maybe it'll be a volunteer situation. But I want to tell you, this is a story I've been telling a lot of people. I ran across this lady from Arkansas, and I don't know her age group. She's lovely, and she starts out with, "Hey y'all," and she has to be in her 60s or 70s, right? And she does crafting. She has thousands of people on her feet, and she is fun, and she has a membership program. So, age is not a limit on what we're doing. It is what you
Yeah.
said, it's the internal part. You've got to have the internal part that wants to
Right.
do it, or you try it. So we all do either or. I'm either going to do this and go gangbusters, or I'm not going to do anything. No, try
Right.
it for a year or 6 months. If you love it, great. If you don't, well, you know what? You won't say 20 years from now, wow, what if I would have?
Sure.
So sometimes you just put a toe in the water, but a big enough
Sure.
toe to actually do something. Okay. So thanks for that insight. I appreciate that. Christina, what are you thinking?
So I was an independent consultant about 10 years ago, and I worked for a company, I've been an employee for the last 7 years, 8 years. And like I mentioned earlier, I was laid off about 6 months ago, and I'm at that crossroads. I'm ready to resume employment, resume work.
Yeah.
After a good recharge and refresh break. And I'm at a point in my life, I'm in my 50s now, so I will, as my friend said, most of our life is past us now. She keeps reminding me.
I'm
As I'm
ahead of you. There's a lot. I'm ahead of you. There's a lot ahead of us yet.
I know. Well, I said, and I keep telling her, well, we're not dead yet. And in my family, we lived well into our 90s. So when I'm looking at what is it that I want to do next, and what is it that I want to, as I'm looking forward, it's really about, it's less about, okay, working to pay the bills, but more about working to create my lifestyle, or support my lifestyle, or create, as part of my life, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it quite right.
Okay.
I want control over my time. I have a lot that I can offer and contribute. And I was entirely undervalued in my last employment experience. And I feel like if I had more control over my time and the types of clients that I can serve, then I think I would have greater career satisfaction. I also have started and had my own businesses over the years in the past in other areas. And I also know being your own boss is 10 times harder than having a boss. So like I said at the beginning, I'm here to learn, and kind of as I'm trying to think about which direction will be the next one, I see that at some point in the future, I will probably return to some type of self-employment or business ownership. I'm not sure if I will do it this year or if it's something that I will be planning for. But I think actually, as I've been speaking with you now, I see that it's probably something that I would like to plan for over the next coming few years. So
And that's very typical, by the way. You get the full-time employment, you do this as a side gig. That is not easy. Okay, it is not easy, but it's very doable. And you just set parameters on about growing your business, and you keep growing it until the two become too much. and you make the
Mhm.
decision on when you're going to switch over or you're not going to switch over. For you, when you're seeking what you want to do, I think I mentioned this before, lists, columns, right? What are the things you love to do? What fills your heart? I love nature. So for me, being outside nature is just one thing that I must have. It's a must have for me. It's one of my values. But think about the things that you value and that you love to do. Think about your talents and your skill sets. And here's the rub. Some things we're very talented at. This other client I was talking about, she's very talented in this one area, but she hates it. Okay. She's not going to stay there. It is not where she wants to be or needs to be, and she will not stay there very long. But she's looking at what she loves to do and trying to create a business in that area. So you're going to think about the things that you love to do, what your talents and skills are. And you mentioned another one, who you want to serve. I have other clients that are very specific about who they will take as clients. If they don't believe in their corporate value, take corporate clients. If they don't believe in their corporate values and how they act in the public and their social responsibility, they will not work with those clients, those potential clients. That's it. So we're going to talk about this in a second, but I'm a big fan of sticky notes. So have a section of wall on your office area, or a section of your wall in your space or wherever, and start keeping lists, or on your computer, of the things that you value, the things that you love. Keep lists of these things. Keep track of them. When I go on for a walk in nature's where I get my ideas, I always have a piece of paper and pencil, and I write down my ideas, or I text them to myself. When I come back, I put those in my organizational system so I don't lose track of them. But there's something there. It's in you. It is in you. It is a journey to figure it out. And it's exciting. I know it feels does it feel exciting or hard right now? Christina?
It's exciting. Like I said, it's a new year. I took 6 months off, meaning I didn't work, and that was deliberate because I knew I needed to recharge and refresh. I've had several deaths in my immediate circle. So it was, I needed that time break, and towards mid-December, I was telling folks I'm now sufficiently bored from watching TV and reading books that I'm ready to rejoin the workforce. So, and I'm excited about new opportunities. So, I'm open. I'm just keeping an open mindset and excited. I guess my business idea isn't something completely different than what my current professional.
Apologize to you because I asked you to start, and I'm going to now stop you.
Okay, no worries.
I'm so sorry. So thank you for sharing. And I'm sorry for your losses. I'm so sorry for the losses you went through. That is a life-changing event, and I'm glad that you're re-looking at things. I see I can't get to the other screen. I'm going to continue on unless somebody else wants to share. Otherwise, we'll continue on with the PowerPoint. Okay. I think we did this one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put you guys over here again. So again, everything that you're doing starts with what's inside you, your vision and your dream. So that's kind of where we're going to get to right here. Okay. So plant your dream clearly in your mind. Our subconscious is amazing. Our subconscious goes to work. A lot of us are in the DMV area. Do we remember several years ago when there was a sniper in our area, which was a horrific event, and it was believed that he drove a white van? So I lived in the area at that time. There were white vans around all the time, and I never saw them. All of a sudden, I saw every white van. There were thousands of them. That was my subconscious. They were always there, but once it was planted in my mind, in this case, in a danger situation, my mind went to work and I saw them everywhere. But you can reverse that. You can make it for a positive thing. So your mind, when you plant in your subconscious, your mind goes to work and finds these things. But also your subconscious cannot distinguish real from not real. So when you tell yourself, I am whatever, your mind believes that. I am not a psychologist, but there are tons of studies. Do some research. This is well documented, and it's really powerful. So you can put this to work for yourself. So magic happens. You'll see opportunities everywhere, and that's the white band was a dangerous situation, but there are also positive opportunities. Like this person I was talking about, she's in the art world. So she mentioned a couple of things, and all of a sudden she saw opportunities everywhere where she could use that particular art skill to build a company. So you're gonna first get clear on what you love, and then you'll begin, just let your mind work. Let your mind have full reign here. Strategic planning begins with a vision. I'm gonna get a little technical on you now. With Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. I don't want you guys to take that route, right? I'm going to talk about some vision statements for companies. But without a vision and a plan, you sort of wake up 5 years from now. It'll be 2027, and you're like, well, heck, where'd those last 5 years go? We don't want that to happen for you guys. So this is an example. So when you start your vision, it's going to be black and white, right? And then I want you to add color to it. Okay, this is where I want your vision to come. It doesn't happen overnight, but I want you to, as you keep thinking about this, add layer to it and layer to it and make it real to you. This is incredibly powerful when you do this. So again, black and white to visioning and planning to the vibrant color in your life, your business, whether it's a business or whether it's going back to work for somebody else. So I want to do a visioning exercise. This is where you get to close your eyes and take a deep breath, have a piece of paper and pencil around, ready. And I'm going to get you guys back over here. I'm looking this way. I've got a screen over here. I'm not ignoring you, but I'm reading from a screen. This will take about 5 minutes. So it's devised as you're starting the business, but some of you are not. So this is where you get to think about the things you love to do, the things you want around you on a regular basis, whether it's for somebody else or whether it's for yourself. Okay, everybody have a piece of paper and pencil? Okay, you're going to vision your life. So this is your vision, whatever it is right now. This moment is what's going to drive your company. And again, when I say drive your company, I want you to think drive your lifestyle and the work that you're choosing, whether it's your own company or you're working for somebody else. It's time to kick it up a notch to make it real. Why? When you get a really powerful idea, a vision into your subconscious, the magic happens. And we just went over that in our slides. Your subconscious cannot differentiate the real from the not real. So it works on it all the time. It's nonstop. So here's what I want you to do. Your thoughts will lead to words, which will lead to deeds. So in this exercise, vision means where you want your company to be or where you want to be in 5 years. So there are no right answers. There are no wrong answers. What matters are the right answers for you. And that can be different for every person in this room. Get comfortable, get quiet, get relaxed, get in the zone. If you want to turn off your screen so that you feel more comfortable, that's fine too. I'll keep mine on, but I want you to really get into yourself right now. So have your piece of paper and pencil handy. If you want to write, that's great. If you don't want to write, that's okay too. So breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. It's 5 years from now. It's January 6th, 2027. You've worked hard on your business in the past 5 years, and you've reached your goals, your dreams. You're happy and successful as you define happiness and success. This is your day. You're living a life you imagined 5 years ago. You've got a magic wand. There are no roadblocks that you can't overcome. You are victorious. It's January 6th, 2027. First, let's set the scene for where you work, your personal environment. So some questions. Physically, you walk into your office. What does it look like? Is there a window? Is there a view? What is that view? Mountains? Ocean? Woods? Urban? Country? home office. What are you wearing? What are the smells? What is your lighting like? What colors do you see? What textures are in your environment? Again, are you in a home office? Are you in a building? Where are you at? What physical part of the country or the world are you at? Are there people around you? Do they work for you or do you work for them? Are they your clients? Are they community leaders? Are they children? How large or how small is your company? How many clients or accounts do you have? What are your annual sales? What does a typical day look like? Think about it. When you start the day and when you end the day, what does that day look like? What are you physically doing in your business? Are there meetings? Are you speaking? Are you traveling? Are you training? Are you writing? What are you doing? What are you physically doing in your personal life? What activities? Are you spending time with friends and family? Do you have me time? Are you exercising? Traveling? Spiritually, what are you doing? Personal development? Let's go to the emotional side. You are living the dream professionally and personally. What are you feeling? What makes you so happy you are just bursting out of your skin right now? What is your life like? Where are you living? Who are you with? You've built up your professional network. You worked hard at it. What does that professional network look like? Now we're going to work on a peak experience, reaching a major goal. It's a week later. It's a week after your 5-year anniversary. It's a day for celebration. In the past 5 years, you've had time to travel anywhere in the world, to any structure in the world, to be with anyone you want and create any product you desired, to build your business your way, to reach any work goal you set for yourself 5 years ago. You've worked hard for this day. You're celebrating something really big today. It's a major milestone. What is it? What's the goal that you achieved that you're celebrating today? If you've got more than one, that's great. What are they? Let's look at your celebration. Where are you to celebrate? What are you doing to celebrate? Who's with you for your celebration? Let's look at your why. The fruits of your labor over the past 5 years have given you freedom to do something in your life to serve your life purpose. What is it? I now have the freedom to what? I have had an impact on the world. It is what? Other outcomes of your labor are feelings and honoring your life values. What have you achieved that may be intangible because you reached a goal? What core value has been respected? Give me about another 30 seconds to think about this. While you're doing this, let's breathe in and breathe out. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Okay. We're now back in our Zoom room. And let's come off, let's go back to video. And anybody who wants to share, please do. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. If anything popped out of this at you. And I can't see, because I can't see the entire screen. Michael, can you see the entire screen? Tom, I haven't heard from you yet. I used to be a teacher, right? So I call on people. If you're not going to respond, I'm going to call on you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hearing myself echo back. But so I saw myself. I like small companies, so I saw myself in a group that's like 1 to 10 people, and I like telling stories and making video of stories, and I saw myself being able to pick stories that are inspiring that I wanted to tell, as opposed to someone hiring me to tell their story, if that makes sense, and having the choice to do that. I also saw myself in a virtual environment where I worked from home and I was able to work with the team virtually. And then, sorry about that. And then the last thing is just, gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Just like having a really big YouTube following also, where the stories could be shared freely.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's gonna monetize, but that's the dream right now.
And you don't have to. That's the point of this exercise. It's the dare to dream big. Okay. And so the how and the why, or the how will come after you've got the what and the why, right? So do take a few minutes either now or later on to write those things down, because there's something there.
Okay.
You can absolutely, this little lady I told you about, that, I mean, she had thousands of followers, thousands. And she built a whole membership model. So she monetized that by having a membership model to the side. That's a common practice. So once you get enough followers, there's advertising, there's all kinds of income streams you can do once you get the followers. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So who else? Hi, Shira. Good to see you. How about Vic? What did you find?
So I was kind of envisioning my day or my days, and one thing that came out was I would like to have a variety of tasks.
Okay.
And another piece that I wanted those tasks and those activities and those deliverables to be, acts of satisfaction, something that brings me satisfaction, not just kind of gritting my teeth to get through it all, but to be satisfying. Although I know there's different parts of work that you may not prefer to do, but in the main, I want to have satisfaction. As much work as I want. In other words, there's not a dearth of work. As as much as I want to work, and a good income.
Okay.
Those are the things that bubbled up for me.
That was awesome. And that's sort of like the Goldilocks, not too big, not too small, just right, right? But the Goldilocks amount of work. And you can do that. There are ways to structure that. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. Who else hasn't had a chance to speak that would like to? Scott, I don't know if you're there or not. Or teacher? Okay, how about Sandra?
Hi, everyone. Let's see. Well, I'm pausing because there's maybe 2 areas that I think I would be successful in. So I guess we can use both of them. But 5 years from now, I did see myself in a home office that overlooked the beach, and
Nice.
I'm sorry.
I'm loving that.
Yeah, and that environment, I would also be able to see clients would be able to come to that office and receive services, and the services would be in an area of human resources, and then another talent stream would be in the area of arts and crafts. And the goal of both of those would be to help individuals, I don't want to say live their best life, because it's just not about living your best life, but helping others. So that's not clear, but nonetheless, clients would be able to come to my home where there'd be room to work with them. And then also I would have a mobile practice as well. I'm calling it practice mobile business
Okay.
as well. I think what really jumped out at me was just realizing that this part of the exercise, the 5 years will go just like that. And so that was like, oh my gosh, I need to do something
Yeah.
practically.
Thank you for sharing that, because it does. When I say you wake up 5 years from now, it's like literally, I'm so grateful and thankful you guys are in this room today, because this is exactly why Cyber put this together, why this is here, so that you can take control of your future, and if you getting in touch with that vision. I love your aha moments. Thank you for sharing them. Every time I do this exercise, things pop out, and it means different things to different people. And this is just the beginning, by the way. When you watch television, when you read a book, keep that idea wall going that we were talking about. Stick the things up there so that whether you do a vision board, which we'll talk about in a second, but whatever it is, I want you. A while ago, I was in Michigan, and on my board, I had moved to Virginia. It was very important to me. I'm now in Virginia. And I did not see a route from going from Michigan, where my family was, to Virginia, where my other family was. But the route opened up. And it was because I looked at that I believe I looked at it every day, and I found opportunities. I found ways to make it happen. And so that's what this is all about. So thank you guys for sharing. You guys are courageous. Let's move on to some more next part of this, okay?
Now, Robin, before you move on, Ada in the chat was asking if you would be kind enough to show the previous slide on visioning in color.
This one?
Maybe it's the one after that.
Okay, so is that what you're looking for?
I'm just working through the chat.
Hi, this is Ada. No, the one where you actually had the diagram with the arrows.
There
Yes,
you go.
Yep,
There you go.
perfect. So when but it wasn't clear yet. So you begin in black and white. Right now you guys are in black and white. But as you keep thinking about this and concentrating and focusing on it, your mind will put things in there. And then you begin visioning and you begin planning. And then in my way of thinking, it becomes vibrant and colorful as you get the plans and you start to achieve it. So this is a process. So sometimes when I do these exercises, people think of nothing. It's just their mind's blank. That's okay. Go where you are relaxed, go where you're creative. Again, with me, it's nature. If I take a walk in nature, I don't have a new idea, I am very stressed and I need to walk in nature more. That's just, I know me. I know that's how I work. Whatever it is for you guys, just make sure that you're keeping yourself stress-free enough that you're being creative, and trust yourself. Your vision, whatever it is now, will become more vibrant. So thank you for asking that question. Okay, ready to go on now, guys? Okay. So we've all heard about the SMART goals. This is just a variation of it. Because for me, what's missing from the SMART goal, I mean, I add stretch because I've seen this done as good, better, best. But, I work with, and this is not to hit on any government people. I worked for 9 years. I ran a nonprofit in the DMV area, had a lot of government folks, and I love them. But they come in and we do goal setting as entrepreneurs, and they would their goals weren't big. And I'm like, look at it. Well, I work for the government. I always set my goals so I can absolutely make them. I'm like, no, that's there. This is now, So I want you to stretch yourself. It's not a goal that you can absolutely make. You're pretty reasonably sure that you can do it. But I've also seen goals. There's a lot of psychology and a lot of reports about making really big goals because it just makes you better, even if you don't reach them. I said to someone someday, I rarely reach my goals. And they looked at me and they said, probably, you do more than anybody else I know. I always set really big goals and it just carries me forward. So we're all different in goals. If not reaching your goal absolutely shuts you down, then don't do that. Know yourself, set it in a way that works for you. This is not in concrete. Try this. If it's not working, change it. Okay.
Robin, if I could jump in here just to give a practical example,
Sure.
BoomerWorks itself is the result of this kind of visioning. So
Perfect.
a lot of people don't know, I think, Michael, you've heard this story, that I received divine inspiration. I mean, God showed up and I received divine inspiration in December of 2013.
Yep.
December of 2013, so 8 years ago now. And it took a few years of me talking to everybody who would listen, and I want to do this, I'm not sure how, and all. And then finally one day, the Lord put in my life a woman named Catherine Hone, who became my partner in this. And together we went out and we figured it out, right? And then eventually, right, session after session, we had 2016, 2017, 2018, we did live programs, and then COVID hit. And actually is a blessing in disguise, because now we're able to do this virtually. It's accessible to everybody. As you see, right, we're doing the educational programs and the growth group. We record all these educational programs. We have a training center on our website. It just scaled up, but it took time, right? But it was a vision that became reality over time, right? When all the pieces started coming together. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing that, because that's exactly what we're talking about here. This is not woo-woo stuff. This actually happens, guys.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
right.
it came about because Shira, it was in her heart.
Oh, by the way, it's pronounced Shira. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. So
It's okay.
thank you. Thank you. I apologize. Came about because Shira, it was in her heart and she made it a reality. Was that easy, Shira?
You know, it wasn't even about, no, it wasn't easy, but I was compelled. I was truly compelled to move forward. I did not know how long it would take. I thought it would happen immediately. And hey, sometimes those things do. Sometimes it's just like that. But this actually took some time and some germinating and meeting the right people and the timing and all of that, partners and volunteers like you and Michael and all, right? It came together. But yes, it wasn't easy, but I had passion around it and really wanted to move. I felt compelled to move it forward.
Thank you. And I did not coach Shira on her answer, because rarely is it easy. I am not here to tell you it's easy, but it is possible. It's absolutely possible. And that's why I want you to align what you want in your heart with what you're doing. Otherwise, it's really a lot. The work, it's not easy, but it's really arduous work. So this is a great example. It makes me happy. Okay, so stretch, right? You want to do a stretch goal. Always a time and a deadline. And as Shira said, maybe it's going to be longer. You're going to say it's going to be in 2 years or 1 year, and it's longer. That's fine. Actionable, something that you actually can achieve. I used to say you want to be a man on the moon, right? I now don't say that anymore because we actually have a non-astronaut on the moon. So, but something that's actionable that can actually happen. Accountable, something, how are you going to hold yourself accountable? It can be yourself, it can be another group, it can be lots of different ways, but hold yourself accountable. Otherwise, the needle just slides. Something that's measurable. People say, I want to increase sales. That's awesome. By how much? By when? Give me something measurable. And here's what the SMART goal doesn't have is it's got to be a priority in your life. If this is not a priority, it is not likely to happen. I'll give you a quick example. I'm reading a book, which I love. It's an old book, The Power of Habit. Well, I guess you can see that, by Charles Duhigg. And just brief story, there's a lady whose life is a mess. She's a mess. And she ends up in a desert in Cairo, maxing out she's overweight, she smokes, she's maxing out her credit card, she's getting a divorce. I mean, she can't keep a job. She's just a mess. And she decides when she's there that a year from that date, she wants to trek across the desert, which she doesn't even know which desert it is. She wants to trek across the desert by foot. That is her passion goal at that moment. Fast forward a year, she's actually on an air-conditioned bus with other people, but she's going across the desert. But in the meantime, when she made that goal, she decided the first thing she had to do was she had to give up smoking, because she could not carry the cigarettes across the desert as she is trekking across on foot. So her very focus and her core goal was she had to give up smoking because she wanted to trek across the desert. And they now study her at NIH. I mean, she's an awesome client. She's now married. She's gone to school. She's kept a job for X years. She lost weight. She stopped smoking. But it started because she believed she had to stop smoking so she could go across the desert, and that was her dream. So, continue to educate yourself, but look at habits and dreams, because if you achieve something, sure, it was in your heart. It was there. You did whatever you needed to do because it was in your heart and you were compelled to make it happen. That's what we're looking for here. Okay, that's what's going to make you successful. So it's got to be a priority, and it's got to be relevant. It's your purpose and your why, which is exactly what we've been talking about today. So I know that I tend to talk a lot, so I'm going to have to. Okay. I want you to set goals in the positive way, not the negative way. So, for example, there's actually a degree, a PhD, a doctor of positive psychology. I love that there's a happy doctor degree out there, but there's a lot of research around this. And if you set it in a positive way, it's going to be much more successful than setting it in a negative way. So positive thinking, visualization, well-grounded in science today. And here's an example. Some of you may know Suzanne Nixon. She had she's a doctorate and she has inspirational journey. She does meditation. She got a podcast. She's awesome. But her example of this in reality was, don't say you want to lose 5 pounds, create a vision of yourself 6 months from now. And what do you look like? So think about it in a positive way. It's only one example. So, but I encourage you to set it in a positive way versus a negative way. So time to begin making your vision. I want you to establish goals and objectives. We're going to talk about this, the framework for it. You're not going to get them all set today, but you're going to have a framework for it. Usually people start with 3 or 5 year goals and work backwards. Some people start with the next month and work forward, but you're going to ultimately divide this down into quarters, months, weeks, however you work with goals. Okay, but writing them down is key. I don't care if it's a sticky note, a map on the wall, but in a journal, write them down and keep them someplace that you can look at them. So then we're going to talk about an action plan, which I can send to Shira, and she can send it out to you. And get in touch with me if you want some more goal sheets. The action plan is actually, we'll show it to you in a second, but it's very, the action plan's 10 steps, but find a framework that works for you and write them down. So
By the way, the action plan will be found on our website. So boomerworks.org, go to the training center tab, and then there's going to be introduction to self-employment. That's where Robin's, this presentation is going to be, this recording. And at the bottom of that page, you'll see the action plan.
Okay,
Probably in the
perfect.
next few days.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
So we don't have to, setting goals is a very personal experience, but does somebody want to set out some types of goals just as to talk for maybe 2 or 3 minutes on goal setting? And then I want to talk more about how we're going to stay in action with the goals. So does anybody have a 5-year goal? I mean, we sort of talked about these loosely, that was part of the visioning exercise. Anything just rushing out at you that you want to share as far as goals? How do you work with goals? Do you set 5 years? Do you set 3 years? Do you set quarterly? If you're quiet, I'm going to call on you. Okay, so Ada, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what would you like to tell us about goals?
Okay, well, I'm not an expert, but I'm working on it. I am in the process of, improving. So, I mean, definitely, absolutely what you just said about stretch and, kind of, what they say, whenever you shoot for the stars, you reach the moon or wherever you get,
no, absolutely.
higher you shoot. But do you want me to, are you asking me like anything specific, or you just generally let me talk about goals?
So out of today, has a goal popped into your mind? Anything
Yeah.
that you want to set? Okay, so if you,
Yeah, I have plenty of goals.
This is recorded, so if you want to share it, that's great. If it's personal, don't.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, so I did, put my information in the chat, and so I am in the process of, I just really just need to just tap a few ends and just launch in terms of the e-commerce business that I'd like to set up. I have a lot of the foundation set up that I've been making connections. So I don't know if there's, are you leading me through a question or like a process?
If anybody is welcome to reach out to me and set up a 30-minute consultation. It's on my dime. I've helped a lot of businesses start. Happy to answer some e-commerce questions or whatever you need. Sometimes you just need other resources to go to.
Yes.
It sounds like your goal is that you want to start an e-commerce site.
Yes.
Okay. And is this actionable? Yes, absolutely. Is it a stretch for you? Maybe. You'll want to put some timelines around it. And I'm actually helping a couple of people set up e-commerce sites. It's not easy. Okay. There's like anything else. There's like a lot of different platforms out there. You got to figure out what you're going to sell, yada. And then once you build, so with all of you guys, once you build your product, then you have to market it.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm like I'm starting on one level, and then I can grow it from there. So the initial to start, I have most of the inventory to get started, and then I can upgrade along the way. So I'm really, with the assistance and everything, I'm ready to try to do something within the next several weeks, to be honest with you.
So you've got a timeline on there. Perfect. I hear excitement in your voice. So
Yeah.
I love it. So
I'm actually pretty looking forward to 2022. So far, it's been starting off very well.
awesome. That makes me so happy. It is, and the question we're always asking ourselves too is, again, this is not cement. You're starting it. You're going to see how it goes for 6 months, a year. You're going to, part of your planning is figuring out what your what your runway is, how long you're doing this, and how much money you need to make, what you're willing to spend, all of those figures, and then giving it a try. Because what you don't want is 5 years from now or 20 years from now to say, what if I would have? What if I would have bitten the bullet in 2022 and done that thing that Robin was talking about envisioning? At BoomerWorks, I was there and I thought about it, and my vision was pretty clear. Could have been more clear, but I didn't do anything about it. That's what you don't want. So your goal today, maybe, what other steps do I have to investigate to see if I'm going to do this? I was talking with somebody else today. She needed another client. She needed to do XYZ. She had no idea how to do it. Her action item was to research how to do it, to find out what resources are out there. I'll give you another example. One gentleman I was working with, this was several years ago, in the DMV area, wanted to paint, his dream was to paint in a particular Italian method. And he thought he had to travel to Italy to achieve this, a teacher with this method, right? This was probably 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, I don't know. So go research and see what you find. He came back the next week, and there was literally a person in Herndon, which was 10 miles from where that meeting was held, that taught in that very specific Italian method. And she was teaching a class, and I'm not making this up. She had one spot left. He took that class. He was able to learn painting in this particular Italian method. Was probably 20 miles from his home. So you never know until you do the research. We tell ourselves, oh, I can't do that, or that's not possible, or I've got to do it this way. No.
Yeah, I'm a very adaptable type of person.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've had that experience already of what you said of like, you don't want to be there 10, 15 years, because I've had the situation where I wanted to do things in the past, and I've had, unfortunately, naysayers around me. And so I'm already at that. I wish I didn't listen to them. So I'm no longer, they have no say in anything I do. No, yeah.
That's a really good point, because we started out with positive mindset and purpose and everything. Sometimes you will have naysayers around you. I used to live in Chicago, and Michael Jordan, basketball icon. People told him for years he couldn't play basketball. He would be horrible at it. I mean, life story, look it up. And he was an amazing basketball player. He believed in himself, and he had to get to people that believed in him also. So you'll have naysayers around. There's lots of articles you can read, and I'm a firm believer. I love them if they're my really good, if they're close friends or the family. I love them, but I move them out of circle. Okay, there's like a circle around me. They're my positive people, people that will always tell you you're not doing well, and be the negative people. If I need them still in my life, I move them out some circles. So because they break me down emotionally, and that's Ada. Is it Ada or Ida?
Ada is correct. Yes.
You gave a great example of that. So okay, find ways to make this happen. We have time for one more person. Who else would love to talk about this? Just can't wait to give us some input. Come on. Okay, Christina, I'm thinking maybe. Sharon, would you like to share? Okay, you guys are done with the subject. I'll let you go this time. Okay, so we talked about the goal sheets. And so now, what are different ways that you guys can think about to stay in action? Because when when you're doing these goals and a week goes by or 2 weeks, and I call it life happens, how do you stay in motion? They just give, let me actually stop sharing and maybe do, well,
Habits would be one way.
okay, say it again.
Habits would be one way.
Okay, absolutely. Doing some creating the habit, which takes 60 to 90 days to make a habit, right? So what's another way? Who does vision boards? Okay, creating a vision board and keeping it in front of you is another way to have that. Sticky notes. I mean, I walked into a board meeting, I had a nonprofit, and I walked into a board meeting one day with a bunch of sticky notes and a whiteboard. And one of my CEOs said, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I love sticky notes and whiteboards." So we just whiteboarded the sticky noted it, and you can do that and keep it someplace where you have access to it. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can, a jar on the desk, have you ever done the thing where you put a thought into a jar? And that's the way to capture your ideas and your positive things. Put your progress in a jar, things in a jar. Index cards. Just use index cards. Okay, what else? What app? You guys are app people, so what apps are out there to help you stay on track?
Well, this isn't an app, but having an accountability partner.
Okay.
Somebody who you're partnering with. It doesn't have to be on the business, right? But somebody who was going to hold you accountable, who's going to brainstorm with you, ask you about it, champion you. How's that going? Can I provide a resource, be a thought partner to you, an actual person, right? It's like when you're going to the gym, right? Sometimes people like to go to the gym with somebody or take a walk with someone, right? It kind of spurs you on a little bit.
Absolutely. Love that idea. What else? You're creative people. I know you have ideas. I don't want to give them to you. I'll give you one more. Does anybody journal? Sometimes, yeah. Okay, so sometimes I start my day by journaling, and it's usually 3 pieces of paper, and I keep a to-do list beside me. It helps me stay organized. So if I've got and I write things down, I keep them around my computer, around my workspace. That's just the way I work. So if I'm working on this idea, I'm journaling, and then my to-do list under this week or this month, I'm writing down the things that pop into my mind. So this type of journaling came from the artist way. And it's basically, you just put a pen to paper and you just write. You don't stop, you just keep writing. And it's for writer's block, but it's actually really great for small business owners because it's a way for me, it's a way to organize my mind. I used to think I was not creative. I'm actually really creative. I'm almost bright, shiny object person. There are too many creative ideas out there. This helps me organize my mind.
I'm still on. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chandra, that resonates with you.
Oh, okay.
So I do that, and then the to-dos pop.
Yes, you do for 15 minutes. Okay.
Then the to-dos pop
Actually,
out.
I'm on a screen virtual background, so no, you don't. Okay.
Okay, sorry, you're not on my screen. Okay. So anyway, but for me, journaling really helps me stay focused and to pop out the do's. And then it's like, okay, I'm moving this goal forward today. I've got to do XYZ, or this week or this month. And it's a way to keep them there. Sometimes if I get the to-do list and I don't get things crossed off of it, I force myself to rewrite it. I don't actually like to do that. I don't like to write by hand when I have to. And so that forces me to get it off my to-do list. I will tell you, I sometimes cheat. I put items on my to-do list that I can cross off. Who in the room does that? Okay, come on. Of course you do, right? Because sometimes you want the little burst of energy. And sometimes telling the world, making that public proclamation that you're going to do XYZ helps you stay on track. There are websites around that. Writing out a plan, doing your action steps. And some people are very goal oriented, some people are not. sometimes diagramming it out, making a mind map, doing a flow chart, using, I know that there are lots of apps out there. Sometimes putting it down, and like if I've got a vision board or a goal or a quote or a saying, move it to a different place, because you get used to seeing it. So, oh, yeah, there's teacher, yay. Sometimes you get used to seeing it.
Her name is
And-
Elizabeth, by the way.
Elizabeth, hey, Elizabeth. And move it to a different place so it becomes more prominent. Elizabeth, welcome. Did you have some ways to stay on track?
Well, by coming to this session,
Here.
I've always shied away from setting goals.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking back over the course of my life, as we might be inclined to do at this point in time. And I see vast spaces, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to figure out, I guess, number one, why I am afraid to set goals or don't, and then how I can overcome that.
Okay. Can I give you a couple of freeing hints?
Please.
When you set the goal, it's your goal, right? You get to change it. Really work hard for it. Set one that you think is reason. This is with yourself. This is with nobody else in the world. If you're making a pact with yourself. Okay. So you want to set the biggest goal that you think you can achieve. Sometimes you're going to go bigger. Sometimes you're going to go, you'll know yourself and how you set goals, but keep track of it. Like a week, a month, after you give it some time, you can adjust it. It's not a concrete. You can absolutely adjust it. The important thing is that you do something. Results require action, and success is rarely accidental, but I can tell you success happens when action happens. So this is your contract with yourself. And also align it with something that matters. And I'm not sure you were here, but I mentioned, like, people say, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year, but they just toss it off, right? There's absolutely nothing resonating from them that says they're actually going to do that. So it's got to be something that means something to you. It's got to be connected with your vision and your purpose and your why. And this is the best time of the year to reflect on this. So hope that helps. And you know what? So I always say there are many ways to the top of the mountain, right? Some people are going to go path A, path B, and I always say you zig to zag. People say, I want to go here. Well, that's awesome. You may have to go here, 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 and then get here. That's okay. Give yourself permission to do that. But your goal is to get here. That's what you're laser focused on. Your pathway will be different than Shira's pathway, will be different than Tom's pathway and Christina's. It's your pathway. This is really all about you. And people will say, I want to change the world. Well, that's great. You have to do something so that you can then change the world. So I hope this conversation helped. I want to go back and share screen again. You guys are awesome, by the way. You truly are awesome. This has been a fun group. So we brainstormed on some ways to stay in motion. So form a habit, okay? And fluency will come with time. When you start a habit, it's hard. My daughter's learning to cook. She's not feeling very comfortable in the kitchen. I'm like, you just keep doing it. It's going to be great, because she wants to know, like, this is about a tablespoon. I said, you measure a tablespoon enough times, you know what a tablespoon is. I said, I actually still measure it, but that's just the way I cook. But I never time, put the little thermometer in there. Is the chicken done? If it looks done, it's done. Everybody cooks differently. It doesn't matter. It matters how you're comfortable doing it. So your habit will be awkward at first. Keep doing it. Build it up like a muscle and play to your strengths as you're going through this. So success is formed. Success is formed when principles are hammered and forged on an anvil of excellence. This is what we were just talking about. They're your principles. It's your anvil. You're the only one who knows what goals you're setting, and you're tripping up your pathway to that. I always say two things when I'm coaching people too, or talking to people. If it were that easy, we'd all be billionaires. Okay, I'm not. And it depends. So I can have two people with the same idea and the same basic resources, and 5 years later, they're two different people, two different companies. And that's because of what they did, not what I did, what the contracts they made with themselves. So this is really about you guys and how you're going to approach this. So make choices, not excuses. There's only you stopping you from being successful. And I always ask myself this question, what would a winner do? Winner means different things to different people, just like success does. What is a winner in your situation, in your challenge? What would a winner do? Ask yourself and then go do that. So what's blocking you? We don't have time for this question here. This is a huge question, a big discussion, but something may be blocking you. You were talking, Elizabeth, about why that hasn't happened. Dig into that. And sometimes it's fear of success, it's fear of failure, it's fear of perfectionism. It's a lot of things, or it's just honestly not that important to you. You think you should because somebody said you should. It's got to be important to you. So this is another quick little exercise. And this is, I will send this to Shira or put it on the website. But this is a little exercise you guys can do. Dear future self, here you go. Today I'm gifting us, fill in the blank, whatever you're going to gift us. It could be a feeling, an action item, an emotion, a character trait, and I will do this statement, because in 2 years, we will both be really happy that I did this today. Thanks for being there, future self. Hugs me. You're making a contract with yourself on whatever this goal is, whatever this action item is, whatever this thing is that we're talking about today. So I suggest you, this is really a powerful exercise, and keep it. And then write a note in your electronic calendar 2 years from now or a year from now, open it up, keep tracking your progress. So remember, you are both the author and the reader of your life script. This is all about you. And again, be the change you want to see in the world. This is about you, because if you want to do that awesome thing, unless you do something, that awesome thing will not happen. So we've got 4 minutes left. Anything that anybody wants to share about what you learned today, what you'll commit to doing. I would love to see you write your goals and objectives out. And we didn't talk about a press release. In that remember we said 5 years from now, and then a week later you were celebrating something. An exercise is to write a press release about what that thing is. And that again makes it real. Just pretend you're making a press release. It could be I hired my ex-employee, I made my whatever dollars, I expanded this to whatever. I gave money back to charity. We just impacted this child and this is their life story, whatever that press release is, whatever is meaningful to you. We just helped our ex-client in our nonprofit, whatever it is. And then if you have any questions, reach out to me at info@startupgrowth.com. We'll schedule a chat. And one more thing, just make 2022 count, guys. It's really important because this is your life. So in the next 3 minutes, anybody want to share? I'll actually stop sharing screen so I can see you guys. Anything you learned, any closing comments you'd like to share with the group?
I actually have a question, if I may. We talked about accountability partners. I really like that idea. Hi, Shara, I'm a big fan. So, and thank you. Before we go, thank you, Robin, for setting all this up, and I really appreciate all the hard work. But
Welcome.
do you guys have any advice on how to go about finding a good accountability partner or group so that we can stay on track with our goals?
Let's have Shira, because you gave us.
Yeah. So I would say there are certainly different ways to do it. Okay. First of all, look in your immediate circles. I mean, that might sound very obvious, but it's something to really think about. Think about the people who know you, like you, and trust you, who are your biggest champions. Okay. Now, preferably not a spouse, the best friend, the family member, not because they aren't wonderful people, but because they're a little almost too close. Okay. So that they're not necessarily going to be as objective as you need, but maybe one step removed from that. Okay, so it could be a colleague, could be a friend, but somebody who maybe has known you for a while, who really is invested in your success, truly a champion. Okay, now that's the first thing. Second thing is, it would be great if this person could kind of gets what you're doing. Does that make sense? Right? Because it's somebody who could love you and be a champion, but have absolutely no clue what you're all about in this business. And they may not be a good accountability partner. So it's really helpful to find somebody who can now, who gets what you do. Now, outside of that, you want to start asking questions of other people. So when you're out and I say out and about these days, we're not as much out and about as we used to be. Okay. But we are on Zoom calls. And if you are talking to, I don't know who's in your world, right? Whether it's clients, colleagues, friends, what have you, but anytime you're on a call, mention what you're doing. And that's actually how I did this with BoomerWorks. This is how the relationship with Catherine happened, right? So BoomerWorks was always top of mind, the idea of it. I told anybody who would listen, I'm like, I gotta do this. I don't know how. Help? Do you want to help? I mean, there were people who really came alongside for quite a while. And then one day, how it happened was I was having a coaching session with Catherine, because I'm a career coach as well. I do lots of things, but I'm a career coach. And we were talking, and she was talking about this is her vision, right, for what she wants to do. And she said, and I hadn't even mentioned BoomerWorks actually at that point. She just simply said, I really want to help women. She said, women over 50 to get into like the gig economy. I said, you want to do what? And I just got all excited. I said, can you help men too? She goes, absolutely. And so then I shared with her because it was top of mind, always, always top of mind. I was literally at the ready to like, and we cut the session short, stopped the clock, and then we started talking about BoomerWorks. Okay. And from that point on, she became a partner, a colleague. So I say all that because if you have this business idea rolling around in your head, when you have conversations with people you're close to, people you're not close to, and there's a time to sort of slip it in. You never know. That person may not become your accountability partner. They could become a thought partner. They could give you a resource. In fact, actually, when we were putting BoomerWorks together, yeah, there were some people like Michael Butera who, Michael, you have been such a stalwart champion of us. He's here at every single call. He used to run a lot of our live sessions. I mean, he's been amazing. So there were people like Michael who came who were super, super close. Then there were people all the way down the continuum, down to just, hey, Shira, great idea. I got that a lot. Great idea. Here's a resource. Just here's a resource, or here's a connection for you. I got a lot of those. And people would connect me up with people who had a similar interest or somehow could be a resource or whatever. The point is, I was always, always, always talking about it. And the Lord put the people in my life that I needed. Some people really close, some not so much, some just a little bit. It doesn't matter. There was a support network that came around me. And in there, it happened to be that my accountability partner, my thought partner, Catherine, showed up, and we actually started doing it together. Does that make sense? So I just constantly talk about it, and you'll see who's brought into your life.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I already have people to.
Good. Yeah. Just start talking. And by the way, those people are not only, they're also going to brainstorm with you. You'll be amazed. They'll say, oh, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Now you want people who are positive. Let me just say this. You don't want the negative Nellies. Okay. But if you get people who are positive around you and are constantly saying, could you, how about this? And how about that? And could bubble up ideas right there.
Yeah. Positive, but not yes people. Right?
Yeah. Challenge you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Challenge you.
They do need to challenge, kick the tires, but not drag you down. There's a blend.
But Tom, remember we talked about.
I have I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Robin.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I have like a personal board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
These are three people that I've known for a very long time. We refer to ourselves as backstage partners. And we meet about every 3 weeks or so. And we actually say, we're going to do X. And then we hold each other accountable for it. And so it's amazing how many things you forget that you promised to people that you're going to do. So everybody has a different way of doing it. That just happens to be mine. And it's been marvelous for me. Really, really has.
And along those lines, a mastermind group could also work for you. So Michael called a board of directors, but it could be other people who, for example, are also starting a business, and you meet on a regular basis and you hold each other accountable and you brainstorm ideas and all of that. But again, you're each other's, champions.
And Tom, it's a great question. Remember we talked about believing in yourself and concentrating on it. So if your desire is to have an accountability group or accountability partner, just think about that. And believe me, like the white man, they will show up. You'll see them. You'll see opportunities that you wouldn't have thought about before. And just trust yourself. And if you get some no's, you get some no's.
You will. And you will. That's okay. That's totally okay. But you're looking for the people, for the one, the two, the three, right? Who are, because you don't need everybody. You just need one or two or few people who are going to be around you.
Yeah, so and just do some research on it. How do I find an accountability partner? Google can be your friend here. Lots of ideas. But as everybody is saying, just concentrate on it, think about it. And believe me, the person will show up.
And go to LinkedIn too. Go to your LinkedIn first level connections and just look down to see people you might have forgotten about, who you used to be close to. You could resurrect that relationship potentially if you think that they might be interested in what you're doing. But remind yourself of who's in your LinkedIn contacts. We all forget. It's like, oh, so-and-so, it's been a long time. And then you reach out, you resurrect the relationship, and there you go. Okay.
So there's a way. So
yeah.
Anybody else have any final, that was a great question. Thank you. Anybody else have any final questions or comments? Well, you're all, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. My email is robin.or info@startuptogrowth.com. Reach out, be happy to schedule a 30-minute talk, and we can talk about how to find an accountability. I'd open up a Google sheet. But just trust yourselves and your dreams and your visions. You guys hopefully have gotten closer to what you want to do. That's the most important thing. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. And be easy on yourselves. But 2022 is your year. So let's go do this, okay? I am done. I can stop sharing.
Thank you, Robin. Round of applause for Robin. Thank you so much, Robin. You've been amazing. We so appreciate you and your energy and really helping provide some practicalities, right, around this idea of visioning and goal setting. Is very actionable of what you gave us. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. And to compliment, yes, thank you so much, Robin. And in fact, Robin's been in my world for a while now, and I just respect her and what she does. She's an amazing small business coach. In fact, another one of my old clients actually has worked with Robin on this, and she just thinks the world of Robin. So thank you again. Really appreciate you.
Well,
and to compliment.
Thank you for having me too.
You're so welcome. And you're welcome back anytime. Maybe we'll get you to rouse us up for another topic. And to complement everything that Robin is talking about, next month on February 3rd, we're going to have a woman named Tamara Wolf who's going to talk about how to shift your mindset, right? So Robin was talking about the goals and the visioning and the practical action steps. And then Tamara is going to talk about the neuroscience of how to change your mindset to go into self-employment. And I wanted to share with you all, I'd bring you back to our BoomerWorks site. So you kind of, for those of you who are new to us, to show you where things are and how to find what you need. So 2 links in particular that you'll want to keep in mind. The first is BoomerWorks.org. The first is our meetup tab. You want to go to upcoming events. So here you go. See, this is today's right here. And if you go down to the bottom, you're going to see all of our upcoming programs. We book them out actually all the way through July. And if you know of anybody in the small business world who would like to speak to this group, I'm certainly happy to talk with them. But you see here, February 3rd, Shifting Your Mindset. The second tab I'd like to show you is the Training Center. Okay, so this presentation will go into the first section, Introduction to Self-Employment. And you'll see that we have a variety of videos, and Robin's will go here. All right. And then at the bottom, we'll have some downloads as well. And that's where the action plan. Is that what you called it, Robin?
Yeah, the action steps. Yes.
Action steps. Yep. We'll go down here. And we have all kinds of other tabs where you'll see any page that you go to, it'll be the videos right from presentations just like this. So please avail yourself of that, and feel free to just tool around, and you can see other sites and that kind of thing. And if you only heard about us through Meetup, we do encourage you to go here and formally join our community. Hit the join our community button. And if you just fill this out, promise we will not spam you. We're just going to send you 2 emails a month just to let you know about our programs. And we've got 2 kinds of programs, an educational program just like this. And we have our growth group. And the growth group usually happens a couple weeks later. And it's a peer networking group. So myself and Michael Robbins actually joined us. We have other small business experts who are there. It's a small group like this. Just bring whatever question you'd like. And we are happy to coach you and to thought partner with you and to give you some inspiration for the journey. Okay, so with that, we wish everybody a blessed evening and a blessed 2022. And we look forward to seeing you again at a future meeting.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shira. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you, everybody, for being really great group. I love the interaction. Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.